Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Jeff Pearson.
Thank you, sir. All right. I'm so glad this podium is here. Because I like to have things in front of me. Memory's the second thing to go, right? So I would like to talk about what I have learned from my 7 brain surgeries. Let's talk for a second. Why have I had 7 brain surgeries, you might ask? It has something to do with that crazy word that he said, hydro warrior, right? There's this condition that I was born with called hydrocephalus. Anybody heard of it?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. Nice. Well, not you. I know you have. Okay. So that is a condition that you are destined for brain surgery. It's just a life. It's just how it's going to work. And so I want to go back a little bit, tell a story. My parents, when I was 2 weeks old, was the first brain surgery I had. I was they came to their 2-week checkup for their new little baby boy and said, all right, cool. We go in, we go out, we carry on with life. And they found something wrong. And they said, we got to do a CAT scan. It's probably nothing, might be something. Turns out the brain was not, there was a blockage in my brain that wasn't allowing the fluid that the brain produces all the time to drain. And the common thing to do then, which is surprisingly still the common thing to do now, is to put something called a shunt, which is a little device that acts as an artificial drain. And so that's what they did. And I had no idea that that was going to change my life forever. You know, the first 3+ decades of my life was great. It was great. I didn't hardly have any. I maybe had three or four revisions, different things, as the shunt fails. You get another surgery, you have another one, you carry on with life. Cool, no problem. I know that sounds weird. It's brain surgery, right? This is serious, but for those of us that have had a few, it's not a big deal. So fast forward to, no, I'm not going to do that. Growing up, I just want to say something. I want to bring my parents into this, because I don't know if anybody, I know there's a lot of parents in the crowd, and our little boy had to have emergency surgery when he was a month old. So I understand what it feels like to not know what's going to happen, right? And growing up with and my parents had to deal with the growing up with me and not knowing when the next brain surgery was going to be, right? Because these devices that they use to repair this have the highest failure rate of any medical device in history, right? So I escaped that first 36 years with only 3 brain surgeries. It was great. Had a wonderful childhood, wonderful growing up, met my amazing wife, got married, had 3 amazing children. Everything was great. Everything was fantastic. I was like, this is awesome. And then 2013 came around and started having, like somebody was saying, paying attention to what your body's doing, right? I was at work and I ended up having some pain and I didn't really think anything of it until it landed me in the ER, and I ended up having emergency abdominal surgery. And then 6 months later, had to have 2 emergency brain surgeries. And then a few more years later, had another brain surgery. And a few months later, had 4 in the last 9 years. And I say that because, hold that thought. Memory's the second thing to go, remember? So, I'm sorry. I came up here so ready. It's all right. It's all right. I'm good. It's all right. I'm telling you. I just say 7 brain surgeries. That's all you got to know. This is where the memory lives back here. That's where the surgeries are. So anyway, okay. I guess here's what I'm getting at. You have a really good life going, and then things start to hit the fan. You wonder, you go, what the heck is this for? What is going on? Why is this happening? Which really is kind of a useless question, right? Because why doesn't matter. It's what you're going to do with it, right? So I was in the hospital for about 3 weeks in 2014 because there was a bacterial infection in the fluid, and they had to do 2 brain surgeries. And I was in there and I was starting to get a little upset, and my dad had to kind of pull me aside and say, look, man, you got to change your attitude, because these doctors are here to help you, and these nurses are here to help you, and all the people in the hospital are here to help you. And so that was kind of a turning point. And then down the road a little bit, in 2018, my 3rd brain surgery in so many years, my wife and I were sitting in a room, in a doctor's office, waiting for the surgeon to come in to tell me, the surgery went great, the surgery didn't go great. Maybe we're gonna have to do it again, maybe not. He came in, we had a great appointment, but during the time that we were waiting for him, I could hear the family in the next room start to you don't hear the conversation, you don't hear the words, but you kind of hear the rumblings of a conversation, happening because those walls are nice and thin. And I could tell that they were distraught. I could tell, and I kind of thought, man, I wonder if they're finding out that their little one is going to have brain surgery, right? I'm thinking, oh, geez. And I thought back to what my parents might have thought when I was 2 weeks old and thought, oh my God. I thought, okay, we got to do something. We got to do something about this. So I looked at Catherine and said, we got to figure something out. And because honestly, all I wanted to do was run next door, give them a hug, tell them everything was going to be okay, and answer their questions, and just hug them. But HIPAA doesn't like that. They don't like it when you do that. You can't just run into a hospital room. That's not good. So I didn't. But that was the birthplace of our nonprofit organization called Hydro with Hope. By the way, if you don't have hope, you're dead in the water already.
That's
right? Especially depending on where your hope comes from, right? So we started an organization called Hydro with Hope, and it is designed to help people with hydrocephalus because brain surgery is inevitable. And so we came up with that idea and came up with the idea that we wanted to do something tangible. We wanted to do something, we didn't want to just be another fundraising organization. There's enough of those. There's a lot of those. They're doing a great job. We wanted to be the boots on the ground, helping for families so that I didn't have to go in the next room. I could do it anywhere in the world because we started it online, started with social media, started with all of that. We published a journal, a fill-in-the-blank journal, to walk people through that whole process, that terrifying process of, holy crap, my kid's gonna have to have what kind of surgery, right? And the whole thing. And then, I know you can't tell probably by today, but I have spoken a few places about this. I don't know why I'm so nervous today. This is so weird. But honestly, after we started the nonprofit, we said, we were approached about something that just blew my mind. And I never would have guessed that this would have been where I was. They approached me about a TV show. We have gotten to the point now that we can get the word out so much. We have a journal that helps people. We have a TV show called Invisible Condition, right? Because, by the way, when I say invisible condition, what comes to mind? There's all kinds of stuff, right? Like Down syndrome is not invisible, right? But hydrocephalus is. You would never look at me and say, I know what he has, right? Or spina bifida, or MS, or brain tumors, anxiety, depression, bipolar, schizophrenia, ADHD, PTSD, military sexual trauma. With our TV show, which I honestly call a ministry because telling your story is therapeutic, right? We have so many people that have come on and been able to tell their story and get the word out about what they're doing and what they're passionate about, and organizations that help that population, of invisible condition warriors, honestly. That's why we call it Hydro Warrior, because brain surgery is not for the faint of heart, right? And so invisible condition is how we've chosen to get this word out. To that end, with Hydro with Hope being a nonprofit, I have actually partnered with Tani and a couple other people that are not here that are experts in what they do. And we are coming up in about 3 or 4 months. It's going to be in the spring. We don't have a date yet. It's probably going to be in March, April, May, somewhere in there. We're gonna be planning a benefit concert for Hydro with Hope and for a couple other nonprofits, and it's going to be in Colorado Springs. So if anybody's in the area, watch for word about that. And if anybody knows that there is somebody in their life that has hydrocephalus, which by the way is really common. I don't know if you guys know this, but it's just as common as Down syndrome and more common than spina bifida. You guys have heard of those, right?
Yeah.
Right? Everybody's heard of those. Besides those that know me, who had ever heard of hydrocephalus before, right? It's not that I'm surprised, actually. I'm honestly surprised that so many hands went up, because usually nobody's heard of that. It's like, hydro what? So we want to get the word out. With this benefit concert, that's what we're going to be able to do. And with the TV show, that's what we're going to be able to do. And this journal, I'm just excited to get the word out. I'm very thankful to have been able to be here and to get the word out to you. And I think that's it. I think I'm good. But yeah, if anybody has questions about any of that, please talk to me later, because I would love to talk to anybody that, that might know somebody that wants to tell their story. Everybody has a story. I'm up for it. Let's do it. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen,